Welcome back, everybody. This summer, we're visiting historic homes in Hampton Roads. Last month, we took you to the Hill House in Portsmouth. This month, we're going to the Peninsula.
Our series is taking you to the Hampton waterfront. Hampton History Museum curator Michael Cobb gives us this exclusive look at the Herbert House.
I'm standing in front of the oldest house in Hampton and one of the oldest houses on the Virginia Peninsula, the Herbert House. The name, where does it come from? The Herbert family. In the 18th century, John Herbert traveled from Norfolk over to the peninsula to Hampton and built this house. John Herbert was a shipwright. Judith Herbert lived here with her 4 boys. All 4 of the Herbert men served in the Virginia Navy during the Revolutionary War. In 1775, when the Revolutionary War began, British ships came into the Hampton River and bombarded Hampton. And no doubt, Virginia militiamen who fought them from the shoreline used the Herbert House as a shelter to fire at the British. Another high point of our history is Blackbeard. Blackbeard, the notorious pirate, Edward Teach, was operating in waters of North Carolina, raiding Virginia ships. Our governor, Alexander Spotswood, sent ships after him. They left from the Hampton River, apprehended the notorious pirate, the brigand, in North Carolina waters. A fierce battle was fought. Many men were killed. Blackbeard's head was chopped off, hung from a bowsprit of the ship, sailed back to Hampton, and then placed here, which is known as Blackbeard's Point then. And they placed his head on a stake.
You mentioned the Herbert family. How long did this home stay in their family?
It stayed right up until early 1800s. It stayed in their family. Then left the family, and in 1865, after the Civil War, a northerner came, Daniel Koch, and he purchased the property. And it has moved since then, but it has a long and storied history. This is a very important example of colonial brickwork. The Herbert House is known for that. And below here is English bond brick. And then above, you will see Flemish bond brick. So there's 2 examples, which is characteristic of Georgian architecture. Brick is really the centerpiece of this type of architecture.
You know, Hampton Roads is off of the Atlantic, faces hurricanes, hurricane seasons every year. How has this house been able to withstand all the weather?
In 2003, we all remember Isabel. It certainly is soundly in our minds. Isabel affected this site and probably weakened the structure somewhat. And soon thereafter, part of the front of the house fell. And very sadly, over the door, there was a brick. It was rubbed in there 1753, and that brick disintegrated when the front fell. Fortunately, the house was restored because of the generosity of the Blue Water Yachting Center, Jordan Construction Company, and the city of Hampton.
If this house could talk, if this house had a story to tell about Hampton Roads, this area, and the spirit of it, what would this house say about Hampton Roads?
I think all historic places talk. I think you can hear it if you're willing to open yourself to listen. And I think what a Herbert House story has to tell us is endurance. It endured the French and Indian War, the American Revolution, the Civil War. It's endured storms. It's endured abandonment during different periods. It survived urban construction nearby, and it still stands.
The Herbert House is privately owned and not open to the public, but we're lucky enough to give you this look into the history of the house.
Wow.
Well,
Pretty
we
cool.
also found out that Herbert House was once slated to be demolished after that damage from Hurricane Isabel in '03, and we're glad that it was restored instead so we could share this story with you. And if you'd like to read the inspiration for the series, pick up a copy of Empty Mansions by Bill Dedman, or you can stay tuned because we'll be giving away copies of this fascinating book next month on the Hampton Roads Show. And you know what, I also want to just give a shout out to our interns who've been working so hard on this series where we're showing these houses from around Hampton Roads. Elise, Jacob, and Megan, they've been researching, helping to produce and field produce and also edit these pieces as their project here. So they're doing a great job.
Along with the help
There's
from
Jacob.
Pat Dowd as well. Great job by Pat Dowd and them. And also restored because of the generosity, once again, because of Blue Water, City of Hampton, and Jordan Construction. It wouldn't be there without their help. Great job by them.
It's great to have this history around us.
Yep.